just got to begin to chase a dream that is bigger than you.
Hi, I'm Stacy Kennedy, registered dietitian, licensed nutritionist, and certified personal trainer. I'm here with you on the Be Well platform to talk about some of the amazing ways that you can boost your nutrition that helps you reach your wellness goals as we start to get into the fall season. So I'm going to show you some key ways that we can work on this together. And some of you may be familiar with the beautiful abundance of produce that is around in the autumn and fall season. But there are some interesting ways that you can even go a little bit deeper, but still enjoy those delicious seasonal veggies. They are some of my personal favorites. But we're going to focus on, before we get into the ingredients, some of the key pillars of wellness that are available for you to access every season. And to some extent, these are really important as we think about that transition from summer into autumn and into fall. So number one, you're going to want to create balance in your life. And that can come from a variety of ways, right? So it's not just nutrition, but that's going to be our focus here. You want to avoid those crash diets. It's so tempting to try to jumpstart or detox or kind of get into things a little bit more aggressively and see some big results up front. But as we all know, that can backfire and truthfully is a bit of a miserable way to live. So instead, you want to focus on healthy habit shifts that are actually effective for moving you towards those nutrition goals. And then embracing self-care is a way to actually make this all more effective as well as more enjoyable. So alcohol is something that in every season can kind of perk up and be appealing to indulge in on a regular basis. And clearly having alcohol in moderation is perfectly fine in terms of health and even in terms of a lot of your wellness goals, but pretty quickly it can interfere with things like weight management, energy or fatigue, athletic performance, or some of your exercise related goals, and among other challenges. So mocktails are increasingly popular in the grocery store as well as at restaurants. Those mocktail menus are growing, which is great. So it's a trend, I guess, but it is one that is supportive of your health goals. So these are a couple brands. There are so many, and there's a lot of great beverages that you can make. So here's one example of a healthy mocktail that utilizes some fall favorites like cranberries, some citrus, apples, another fall classic, and basil, which is kind of fun and interesting. But you can riff off of this and come up and create your own, or certainly search for a number of wonderful options that are out there. So we talk about physical activity, and you'll get that from other experts in this platform. But if we think about your immune system, so going into fall, we're starting to think of viruses and flu and things like that. You want to support your immunity. Back to school, kids with germs, people coming back in the office from international travel or what have you. So 150 minutes a week of even walking is beneficial and documented from an evidence perspective to support your immune system. We know that strength training is key for that hormonal balance, for muscle mass as well. And so when we talk about hormonal balance, it can help with symptoms of menopause, but can also help in terms of metabolism and supporting that as we get older. As we age, working out in the morning might yield the best results. So talk with your trainer or stop by your fitness center to explore that more on an individual level. But trying something new, stand-up paddleboarding, even as we get into those fall days, can be beautiful. Maybe biking or hiking or Tai Chi. Look for something new and fun to kind of perk your interest and keep you going with more activity. So we talk about avoiding crash diets. So what is diet culture? It's something that you may be hearing more about in the media, And it's something that's unfortunately just woven into the fabric of our daily life, not just for women, for men as well. And it can be so ingrained that we don't even realize it's there and the damage that it's doing. So, our society does tend to value more of specific shapes and sizes, but really, health can come in all shapes and sizes. So, being thin is not necessarily the goal of health and wellness. And so that BMI is not by any stretch what tells you everything you need to know about where somebody's at in their wellness journey. A person can be of a larger body, whether that's genetic or just their own personal course, but be following health habits on a regular basis and actually have a very healthy state of being in terms of blood tests and other markers that are important. So, weight is not the only thing that you want to be looking at. You want to look at body fat, you want to look at muscle mass, you want to look at energy, and there's a whole host of blood work that goes a lot deeper than even what I'm just saying. So being thin does not necessarily mean you're healthy. Being heavy does not mean you are unhealthy. So there's a lot more to this conversation, and it can play into feelings of confidence and social acceptance. And again, even on a wellness level, if you are feeling that you don't fit in, or you're feeling uncomfortable or stressed, that can really undermine a lot of your wellness goals. And so we want to ditch this diet culture. So, what does that sound like in our everyday life, right? If there's anything you can take with you and start to shift this fall, it's this idea that you need to restrict and kind of torture yourself through starvation in order to be healthy or to be accepted. We really don't agree with that, and it's not founded in science, and it's very damaging. So, what does that sound like? Oh, I know it's bad, but I'm going to have a milkshake or ice cream, or I'm on a cheat day, or I need to be cleaner in order to be healthier when it comes to eating, or I ate my kids' pizza, or I finished their chicken nuggets and I know that's bad. These are all diet culture words that don't serve us and are untrue when it comes to looking at the big picture of what's really driving your wellness or your health. And so, how do we go about ditching this? Nobody likes it, endlessly tracking and counting and trying to optimize. Sometimes you just want to be healthy and live your life and enjoy the things you want to enjoy. And they can all really fit into a healthy lifestyle. Or you make choices based on factors other than, what is some influencers telling you, right? So, I'm not here to tell you what to do either, just more to try to provide a more helpful framework. So if you're ready to find another way to be healthy that isn't about diets and rigidity and cheating or being good, then here are some things you can do. So number one, you want to focus on the nourishment of what you're eating and the enjoyment of eating. So the color, the vibrance, the texture, and then the nourishment, meaning are there a lot of inherent vitamins, minerals, fiber, protein, right? So things that you might think are bad, like carbs, like let's say a sweet potato, really will benefit you in terms of prebiotic fiber, antioxidants, nutrients that support your immune system and your vision. So again, diet culture says that that's a carb, that's bad, but nutrition says, hey, there's a lot of goodness in here. And if you like it, you should include it. So, kind of looking in terms of those values instead of rules, and being kind to yourself, right? That's a big piece of all of this. And so, in that sense, picking up some new healthy habits can be fantastic. And so, maybe that's meditation, and you can meditate on some mindfulness and wellness around ditching diet culture and embracing food freedom and intuitive eating, which is another topic that we've shared on this platform that you can look up and get a deeper dive into, even do some mindful eating exercises. Maybe your healthy habit is around yoga or hiking. What a great time to get outdoors. And biting these off into small pieces. So 5-minute meditation, maybe a 15-minute hike or a 30-minute hike instead of like a 4-hour trek up the mountain. Maybe yoga from a video that you're doing, again, a very short, easy session. And I know there's so many good content. There's so much good content on the Be Well platform in a lot of these areas you can explore. Okay, so let's go through some recipes, how to create some of these nourishing, energizing meals as we're in this new season. So warm salads, it sounds like weird. So you think of a cold salad in summer, but you can actually elevate your salad to be very nourishing and comforting from a temperature perspective into the fall. So let's look at those healthy whole grains, those carbs that deserve a place in your bowl. So you might, in your salad, include something like cooked quinoa, brown rice, wild rice. Those would be gluten-free options if you're gluten-free. Farro, barley, wheat berries, which are also called hard winter wheat. Those are all some non-gluten-free but very healthy whole grain options. You can also look at other veggies that are going to be warm into your salad. So you might saute some kale, some Swiss chard, some spinach or collard greens. You might look for cauliflower rice that's warmed up or chickpea rice that's warmed up. Those can be some examples of some warm things. You could do roasted veggies as well. And so we can add some fresh veggies. So that would be things that are raw. And that's going to give a little bit of a texture difference into that warm bowl temperature as well. So that could be like shredded cabbage or arugula. Those are in the same family as kale and broccoli and Brussels sprouts and cauliflower. Those are those cruciferous veggies that are so good for your liver. Roasted sweet potato, as I mentioned, would be a great addition. What about some pickle? That would be a nice, vibrant, like acidity, nice crunch to it. Also makes it fermented, so higher in probiotics, really good for your microbiome. So you might pickle some onion or some radish. You might roast some vegetables, as I mentioned, in the oven or your air fryer. So things like beets or broccoli, parsnips are a great fall veggie, purple carrots, again, have those anthocyanin, those potent antioxidants that make them purple. You could do shaved Brussels sprouts raw, or you could do roasted Brussels sprouts that are cooked. Mushrooms roasted are a great immune supporting addition to your warm bowl. You could even do a little bit of dried fruit for a nice flavor, a little sweetness. So just a little bit goes a long way. Something like those dried cranberries without added sugars, without sulfites, if you can find them. And then protein, that's really important for your every meal to have a good source of protein, whether that's grilled or baked chicken, a little bit of red meat occasionally is certainly fine, like, once or twice a week. Fish would be fantastic. That Mediterranean diet, tofu, you can put in your air fryer. You can use nuts and seeds for a nice crunch, more plant-based nutrients and fiber, roasted chickpeas or edamame, other beans like black beans, white beans, kidney, pinto, peas. Nutritional yeast is like almost like a cheese shaker, like Parmesan, but it's not cheese and it's not like weird and gross, even though it sounds a little bit odd. It's very high in protein, high in vitamin B12, has like a cheesy flavor, it's natural. And falafel can be something you can, again, bake or make in like an air fryer or buy that you could, instead of frying, you could cook into an air fryer or an oven. Again, all ideas for that warm bowl that are going to give you that protein that you need for metabolism, for balancing blood sugar, muscle mass, for energy, and then healthy fats. So that might be roasted eggplant dip or pesto or beet or like a white bean or a hummus. It could be cheese like feta, goat cheese, etc., cheddar cheese, olives, avocado. These are all healthy fats that you would want to add. The nuts and seeds would give you some of that too. And then for clean dressing, super simple. Olive oil and lemon juice would be perfect. Sometimes those dips are enough, or a little bit of vinegar and olive oil. You can certainly make a dressing. They're not hard, but you can keep it really simple. Soups and stews would be something else. And again, like just quickly, there's a ton of recipes, but you need some kind of base. So it could be water, it could be any kind of broth. You could do bone broth for extra protein and collagen, or you could do a low sodium broth potentially. Again, depends on your goals. Maybe you need the salt. You want to do organic chicken broth or veggie broth, mushroom broth, lots of options. Dairy, non-dairy, you could use coconut milk. So there's so many choices there. And then again, those veggies should be in your stew or your soup. So any of those fall squash, you can cook those right in, or you could add those, from the oven and go ahead and put them into your soup already roasted. You could add in some of those cruciferous veggies like the broccoli or cauliflower, Brussels sprouts. We've got mushrooms, lots of great options in fall that are going to add those important nutrients in. And then though, again, those whole grains, whether, or they could be like a carb, like a potato, but these are going to give a heartiness and give that important fiber for your microbiome and those B vitamins for energy. Again, we want protein. So you've got a list of options here that are delicious. And superfoods are wonderful to include in that nice warm bowl. So you might cook with some turmeric and black pepper. You might use something like seaweed, and that's going to give you additional selenium for your thyroid that helps metabolism and those really potent antioxidants. You might throw cinnamon into your chili. It's great for blood sugar, some ginger. So there are lots of choices there. So hopefully you've got some really great ideas as you head into fall, and I wish you all a wonderful season. Thank you.